allow the will of the people to prevail. I mean, it's as simple as that. And that's what democracy is all about.
Yeah.
It's the people, the ultimate decider, the electorate. Yeah. And that's why they are calling on us. For those of us who have not collected our PVCs, go and collect your PVC. Okay. But it doesn't end there. On the election day, go there and cast your vote. Exercise your franchise. Don't sit in the comfort of your room and start criticizing and condemning. Go and exercise your. You see, we operate the first past the post, or the simple majority, or the simple plurality, which means that if 19 people contest an election and one person has 10 and the other person has 9, the one with 10 votes have won. And so one vote matters. There are some other elections that there are other devices. That's not necessary here, since we don't practice that. So they are admonishing us, as well as the candidates, play by the rule and allow the will of the people or the voters to prevail.
Okay. Sake, Alhaji Emretala Agbola said it is a normal thing. He called it admonition. But if you look at this call by the National Peace Committee, could it be due to the apprehension that people's vote may not count?
Well, it may be, but I think the committee is playing its role. The mandate given to it, that's to ensure peace. To ensure peace before, during, and after election. And to make sure that the political landscape during this electionary campaign is sane. But they are not achieving that. You know, I think they have called 1 or 2 meetings with these gladiators, and they've signed peace accord. But is the spirit of the peace accord reflecting in the actions and inactions of this candidate? I would say no. You know, like he said, there's been a lot of character assassination, mudslinging, saying dirty things about themselves, and all these things should not be, since they have signed this peace agreement. The committee is doing a good job. It has no other power than to advise. Ordinarily, if our democracy has grown to a reasonable extent, we don't need this peace committee. But because of the peculiarity of our situation, that's why this committee was set up. And we have, people of high repute in that committee whose voices are respected. And when they call meetings, people, those who are supposed to be in attendance, they attend the meeting. But the outcome of the meetings, the admonitions given, the piece of advice given, they are not taken seriously. We don't see that kind of compliance with the advice given. We don't see that compliance when they go out on campaign, or even when they are at their separate meetings. You see them abusing themselves, and they have reduced this campaign into a kind of a character assassination. And of course, when one plunges himself into politics, you should expect the worst. Like people digging into your past and coming up with such embarrassing aspect of your life. But that shouldn't be the case. I mean, we have taken that to extreme. People now abusing themselves. The committee is doing a good job, but what they expect from these politicians, I'm sure they are not getting. That's why it has come up with this advice. That allow people to make their choice. Don't engage in any intimidation. Don't engage in destroying yourselves because you want people's vote. That shouldn't be the case.
Thank you. Alhaji Emretala Agbola, Sake has said something now. He said the peace committee comprised of people who are respected in the society, and that whenever they call meeting of these political parties, they usually heed their call. But that in spite of all this, it seems the peace committee is helpless, in the sense that not much has been achieved in the area of maintaining peace, particularly regarding the characters or the behaviors of these politicians. Then, in this circumstance, how relevant is the committee?
Well, the committee is relevant, but don't forget that it is advisory. I mean, they have no legal backing to take any action. No, they don't. It is advisory, so they can only advise. They can only admonish that, okay, let's do this. If you do this, it is our own interest. This generation, we must not go into war again. They can only advise. That's the best they can do. And since they is comprised of noble peoples in the society, I think these politicians or gladiators should listen to them, because whether we like it or not, this phase shall pass. Another phase. Look, if the world has not come to an end, children yet unborn will come and rule the state and rule the country. And so this is our own phase. We are the dramatist personnel now. After some time, we also leave and some people will come on board. So I think it is in the interest of the gladiators to also know that power is transient and ephemeral. It's very short. 4 or 5, we are talking about our Obasanjo after 8 years, he was still clamoring for more. So that is how power is. But you see, the reward in the political system is so enticing, is so lucrative, is so alluring that if you are there, you won't want to leave that place. Now, look at some governors. After serving their state, Ibikula Amotu was a senator on APP before he became a governor. After a governor, he has still gone back to the Senate. And so many like that. Even the former governor of Imo too, the same thing. Ladoja, the same thing. So if you are there, my brother, that position, before you wait, in fact, people will remind you of your birthday. People will remind you of so many things. I remember when Babangida was the head of state and he gave birth to Halima on the throne. People were fighting among themselves to give the baby baby food and
he called the baby unique.
Yes, it's unique now.
Remember.
Now, so those who don't have their atomo, nobody will remember them. So if you are there, my brother, it's alone. So people want to do anything. And you see, in Nigeria, immediately you nurse the ambition. Oh, I want to become the governor. People start calling you Your Excellency. So after some time, that thing takes a life of its own. A life of its own, so that you cannot control it. People are in fact, except the election has not come. If the election comes, as they are telling you, that's what they are telling the other person too. So that's what they are saying. So everybody believes that is the rightful occupier of the office. It becomes vacant. So people will do anything and everything to ensure that they win election at all costs. So what the peace committee can only do is to advise, please let us play according to the rules, so that if there is no violence, if there is no, the choice of the people will prevail. That's the best they can do. They can't take them to court. They can't do anything, just to advise. It's advisory.
All right. Thank you. Sake, yes, it has been established that the position of peace committees is merely advisory. But then we have series of laws. We have Electoral Act. Beyond the peace committee, what can we do to actually tame the behavior of these politicians?
Well, I think the peace committee is only reminding, by way of the actions, they are only reminding the politicians, the gladiators, of what the Electoral Act expects them to do. And that is what they are not doing. And since they don't have the power to sanction, they will continue to advise. It is not left to the agencies involved, agencies that are supposed to instill discipline, like the police. Well, if the Electoral Act says you should not malign your opponent during campaign, you should not assassinate your opponent's character during campaign, there are sanctions for it. I think it's the law enforcement agent that should now engage in making sure that whoever offends the law is punished. It's not the peace committee. The peace committee is trying to create an enabling environment. Is preaching the gospel of politics without bitterness. That's a slogan that was made popular in the Second Republic by Alhaji Waziri Ibrahim. He was known as apostle of politics without bitterness. And that should be the principle of all politicians. There shouldn't be bitterness. Although the office is lucrative, by Nigerian standard, it is the quickest way to plunge into wealth. You know, quickest way. By the time you are brave the situation. By the time you are able to take the risk, or maybe selling all your properties and find yourself in it, you have become rich overnight. That is why it has become very attractive. All we need to do is to make politics unattractive. Okay. It should be a kind of service. That's why we are calling for maybe part-time arrangement for people in the National Assembly and reducing the cost of governance. You know, reducing the emoluments and remuneration of these public office and political office holders, so that it will not be too attractive. It will not be as if you don't go into politics, you can't make it in this country. Because that is the impression being given now. For those of us who don't have that courage, I think we have been asked, maybe we have sentenced ourselves into a kind of poverty bracket. And but that shouldn't be the case. We've seen people who practice this, politicians in the First Republic. They have record of probity, record of accountability, not necessary to go and amass work, the kind which we are having now. So the Peace Committee is doing its job, but as we have said, it has no power to sanction. All it can do is continue to advise, and the agencies that have power to deal with infraction of any of these electoral acts, they should be alive to their responsibility.
All right, thank you, Alhaji Muritala Agbola. Now, Sake has said something that the money that is in politics is what is making these politicians behave the way they are behaving. Then, how do we go about demonetizing politics in this country?
It's a Herculean task. While I don't want to say it's impossible, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. And I remember when the current president came into power, he said that the money politicians were taking, elected political office holders, was humongous. So he now decided that no, the money should be slashed. If my memory serves me right, I think himself and his vice, he slashed them by 50%. I don't know whether even that should be in the first time of their 8 years. Do you know what the National Assembly told him? He said, Mr. President, this is not within your purview. It is not your right to slash salary or increase salary. That the duty rests with the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. So you have no duty to do that. In fact, I remember it was our own, the former deputy speaker from Ilobu, what's his name? Lasso Yusuf. I was in a particular family. So now it is very. In fact, is there any business in Nigeria today that you can earn what you get in politics? Certainly not. Look, it's very simple. Now, if it comes to engaging people, giving people employment, you are there. The salary is humongous. The allowances is also there. You have the connection. My brother, I don't know of any business in Nigeria today that can be as good as investing. People sell their houses to go into politics. Now, the question now is, who will ensure that the money we demonetize? It is the lawmakers that will do it. So if you're asking them to do it, you're asking them to commit class suicide, which they will never do. You see, that's why some people are of the view that, one, let us sit down, let us meet minds. In the first place, do we need this set of people, the number in the National Assembly, doing what? I have engaged senator from this state and a member of House of Reps. Incidentally, the two of them agreed with me that the number in the National Assembly is too much. That is the number. We are not even talking about allowances. So if Nigerians are unfortunately, look at this fuel crisis. In those days, you have NLC, they will do something. So where are the human rights activists? Where are the activists now? Today, if you hear any one activist shouting, if they call me away, what's your problem now? What's your business? Oh yeah, come and take this. That's the end of it. So I think maybe the lecturers too, in those days, I still, even under the military, we still have the professional bodies. We have the activists, both individual and collective. People like Ganifa, people like Olisa Agbakoba, people like Femi Falana, and all these people, they will do, but today, nothing is. So, I don't know how we are going to do it. Honestly, I don't.
All right. Sake, if things are going like this, if things continue going like this, is there any future for our democracy?
Well, it's very difficult to say pinpointedly that there is future, unless I continue to say that unless there is a break of this democracy. That's why I want to agree with Baba Afebabala. You know, the way he put it, there shall be interim government to now fashion a new course. And that's more or less saying, let's have a break from this democracy. And we are not talking of coup by way of Afebabala's argument. He's not talking of coup, but he's talking at a way whereby we just take a break after 6 months or 1 year from this democracy. A commentator once said that democracy is different from one country to the other. I have believed that democracy is democracy. But they say democracy is different from one country. It means Nigeria's brand of democracy is not the best. It's not the best. So if you want to go constitutional by way of redesigning the system so that all these inadequacies can be removed, I don't think we have this set of people will not do that. Like Mori said, it will amount to class suicide because they are profiting from the bad system. They are profiting hugely from the bad system. So we need a break. We need a break from this democracy. And we have also said it here that our constitution is one of the major problems in this country. Our constitution. Somebody has said, if you bring an angel from heaven to preside over this country, with this constitution, he can't achieve anything. Because that's the grand norm. It is 40 right from the first sentence. It is 40. You have been seeing a lot of panel beating by way of amendments here and there, and these people are just using it to siphon. In the next budget, this year's budget, there is a provision, there is a budget for constitutional review.
Again?
Yes, because this ninth assembly had not achieved anything, in spite of all the what they did going around the country and whatnot. You know, they have not achieved anything.
Who is going to refund the money spent on it?
He's a taxpayer now. You know, so we need a break. I wholeheartedly support Baba Febabala's submission. We need it. We need it.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's move to the second topic of our discussion for today: petrol price hike and politics of deregulation. Alhaji Muritala Agbola, this persistent hike in petrol price and the politics behind the issue of deregulation.
Well, deregulation is okay economically.
Okay.
But the argument of most Nigerians, which I also share, is that our leaders did not do anything to bring about oil. It's part of our land. It is divine gift. It is nature that gave it to us. What value have we added to it? We built 4 refineries, and today we cannot even maintain the refineries. Now, and as long as we send our crude oil from Nigeria abroad, and then bring the refined oil back to Nigeria, the issue of subsidy will always come in. Because the issue of subsidy simply means that when you transport the goods back to Nigeria, now besides the refining cost, you are also going to pay for freight. You are going to pay insurance and other costs. So by the time it lands here, the landing cost will have been higher than what it will have been if we have produced locally. And that's why you see all government, starting from, because we are talking about the Fourth Republic, starting from OBJ. OBJ increased the price of a liter of petrol severally. And I still remember that even when he has won when Yar'Adua had won the election, and he was even leaving, he still increased the price, only for Yar'Adua to come and reverse it.
Okay.
That is the liter of petrol.
Yeah.
Then he sold our refineries to a consortium of companies led by Dangote and Femi Otedola, and which again Yar'Adua reversed. That's one of the areas he had problem with Yar'Adua.
Okay.
Now, so if we can produce crude oil locally and we refine it locally, two things are going to happen. One, some people are going to be gainfully employed. That is one. Two, the hard currency, now you need, that's why dollars is scarce and has gone so expensive. The money we are now going to spend to import fuel, we will not import it. Now I was discussing, and the good thing now is this, although the government said by now, do you know, they still believe that they are still paying subsidy. And we are buying a liter of fuel, some people are buying 290, 300. And they still, so now we now begin to ask, if they are still paying subsidy and we are paying the high price, then of what use is that subsidy? Officially, they said June that they are going to withdraw subsidy. Then some people are even saying April. So whether it is April or June, we are not there yet. So ordinarily we should not have problem now with the subsidy or the increase. So, but Dangote, we have heard that severally. Today, I think tomorrow is 24th.
Yes.
The president should already be in Lagos now. So tomorrow, if their plan comes to pass, it means the president will commission Dangote refinery. About 650,000 liters per day, the biggest in Africa and one of the biggest in the world. Now, if you are able to commission that one and is operating, two things. One, you will be getting cheaper. Getting it cheaper is another thing. Now, the government said they are going to sell crude oil to Dangote refinery at the international price. Now, if they sell it to him at international price, then he's also going to sell it back to Nigerians at international price. But here, the government can come in and say, look, if you are selling it to them at $100 per barrel, you can sell it to him at $80, so that at least he can make that of Nigeria cheaper. I discussed this yesterday somewhere, and somebody called me and said, have I forgotten that Dangote is one of the owners of Nigeria? I said, yes, I know. But the good thing is that at least we'll be producing locally. The crisis we are having, they have imported oil, is on the high seas, that one will not happen. Later, we can fight within us. But the danger again is that how can 200 million Nigerians depend on one person? So you see, all the money they spend on refinery, today they are still talking about Port Harcourt refinery will come on. Me, I don't want to trust government again on this issue. So that the politics of deregulation, if you are able to deregulation means that the argument of the government is this. Now, if you don't allow the market forces, you see, in economics, market forces determine the price of a good. The forces of demand and the forces of supply. Now, when they intersect, the price is formed. But in this case, because everybody needs petrol, in fact, I know some people who are using diesel vehicles that they have sold them off. Some diesel generators, they have sold it because they cannot maintain it. So deregulation is good, but let us produce locally first. If you produce locally, you'll be able. In fact, one of the presidential candidates mentioned this oil thing. They also mentioned this electricity. And then dual exchange rate. Some people go and buy the dollars at the official rate, cheaper price. Then they go to Bureau de change, sell it to them at a higher price. So that's part of the problem you have.
All right, Sake, looking at this petrol price hike, why is it that the petrol that's supposed to be a source of joy is now an albatross?
You see, occasionally I used to think that how would it have been if Nigeria was not an oil producing country? Wouldn't Nigeria, in the country have been better off than we are having it now. Because there are many countries that that are not oil producing, and they are not facing this kind of hardship. You see, so it appears to. I mean, it's a curse for us to be oil food, because of all the oil producing countries, Nigeria is the only country that exports crude oil and imports refined oil, refined petrol for its institute. It's the only country, not even Angola there, not even Angola. And Nigeria used to be a leading African country in the area of, I think we are now number 6. Angola has overtaken Nigeria in the area of rating. No, so we are not making the best use of the opportunity. It's a natural, it's a God-given opportunity. It's a God-given gift, but we have misused it. We have abused it. So that is the problem. And you see, when you talk of the regulation, I don't know what else you will say at this point when you are buying petrol at 300, 350. What other deregulation are you expecting? It has already been deregulated. Yes. And they say this fuel subsidy only profits the rich. It's a stupid argument. The poor person always face the brunt whenever there is fuel price increase. It is the poor person. The woman in the village. Look at kerosene now. It has gone out of the reach of even ordinary people. And some people say when this subsidy issue, it only profits the rich. Has nothing to do. It doesn't bother the rich.
So do you know the liter of kerosene now?
I think 1,000 naira.
1,400. If I was on a program and somebody said, I shook my head. 1,400 a liter of kerosene.
So we already the sector is already deregulated. And you see, the curious thing is that we have the president who is also the Minister of Petroleum for 8 years. I don't know what legacy he wants to leave behind by the time he leaves office in 6 months' time as a Minister of Petroleum, substantive Minister of Petroleum. I don't know the legacy he has. I think he should be described as ceremonial minister, but the fact remains that is the substantive minister. He has a Minister of State who is more or less powerless. So I don't know the kind of legacy he want Nigeria to remember him for. And each time when we were growing up, each time there was this fuel price increase, we are told subsidy has been removed. Subsidy has been removed, but we continue to fight this price increase and still being told that subsidy is still being paid. And as a way of not stigmatizing himself as being the government that removed subsidy completely, he said he has shifted the removal of subsidy till June this year. What is the meaning of that? If you want us to believe that you are still paying subsidy, why are we buying petrol at this exorbitant price? So it's a government that one finds it difficult to trust. It has lost the confidence and trust of Nigeria, particularly in this area of fuel. You know, nothing works now. Occasionally we begin to think, is anybody in charge at all? Some months ago they were telling us they have so quantity of fuel in stock. The reserve can last about 30 days, and we are not seeing the difference. Things are getting harder and harder. It's very unfortunate.
All right, thank you. Alhaji, this issue of petrol is a problem. It's a phenomenal problem in this country. But we must get out of this now. How do we do it? How do we get out of this albatross?
Well, the government economists will tell you that because the price is cheaper, that is why the private investors are not coming in. But thank God, Dangote is now coming on stream now. Now, if Dangote starts and the government is able to either sell off these existing refineries and then to permit the private people so that they can revamp it, they do the turnaround maintenance and they will be producing. Now, if we have the 4 refineries producing and we have Dangote 2 producing, I think this issue, I'm not talking about the price, but I'm talking about the availability. And in economics, if the supply is greater than demand, then it means the price will come down. Automatically the price will come down.
Yeah.
That's if all of them. But you see, it also depends. Will this refinery, the four we have now, will they function? If they don't function, for new investors coming in, except of course, the argument of government economics is, except the price goes up. So if it doesn't go up, the price now is not enough to tempt them to come into the arena, to come and invest. So that's that. But if we have more refineries, supply will be greater than supply, the demand, and the price will come down.
Right.
That's when the people can enjoy.
Right.
And even the fear now is that even when Dangote comes on stream, Nigeria may not be able to produce enough crude to service the this Dangote refinery.
Okay.
That is the fear, because our production has dropped. You know, this Tombolo surveillance is complaining. It's complaining that is being harassed here and there. You know, so it means our production level is dropping. And if it means Dangote faces the possibility of even importing crude oil to service its refinery. Yes, its refinery. And we are also we have been talking about modular refineries. You know, these are small business that can boost this. Refined petroleum. You know, you each time these modular refineries are detected, they are destroyed. Why do you destroy? You say they are pretty illegal. Why don't you legalize them?
Exactly.
There are processes from illegality to legality now.
Yes.
Why don't you employ that rather than deciding to destroy? You know, BK was celebrating himself for discovering illegal modular refinery and destroying them. I mean, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Let's go to the third topic of our discussion for today. Bloody January, Nigeria loses over 500 citizens to violence, accidents, others. Alhaji Muritada.
This death, honestly, so many sources. Accident is there, cultism is there, Boko Haram is also not. Sometimes we begin to wonder. Just today, it was discovered that there was one local government chairman in Imo. Now they took ransom from him and they beheaded him. A lot of.
They eventually killed him.
Oh, they eventually killed him, yes. That chairman, local government chairman in Imo. That's the latest. A lot of things are happening. So sometimes I believe that Lucifer has descended from here and has come to Nigeria. Although some people say we are in the end time, and the end time a lot of things happen, but I think it's getting out of hand. About 408 just between December and now. We are still in the first month of the year. I mean, it's so sad. It's so unfortunate. Well, we can only pray to God. As Nigerians, we are religious people. While praying to God, we also try to keep ourselves safe, either on the road, in our homes. If you are traveling, know when to travel. And so generally, the safety precautions are meant for us to take, because if you are relying on government, government can hardly do much. Under this government, they have attacked the presidential convoy. So what are you talking about? So it's so sad. A lot of deaths coming right center. Some people are even committing suicide, like what happened at Futa, where some people are being beheaded. The accident too will take its toll. Cultism, 2 people were killed in Osogbo at Okebale here. And so all these things. So we can only hope and pray that government will come, the God will come to our aid. Then whatever little the security apparatus too can do to stem the tide. Okay. But so far so bad.
All right. Now, Sake, losing 500 citizens to violence, accident, and others. Are you not worried?
I'm worried. Of course, one should be worried. You see, the times are bad. The times are bad. And if you can go biblical, Ephesians chapter 5 verse 16, so redeeming the you know. But that kind of mentality has been introduced into mindset of Nigerians. When we enter September, say Baba months, which these months are prone to death and various tragedies. But look at January alone. The quantity of death that have been harvested, killings here and there. It is saddening. Like you said, we continue to pray. I believe in the efficacy of prayer, no doubt about it. But then, as human beings, we also must take certain actions to allow prayers to become efficacious. We don't just need to just pray and we continue to do evil. You know, these atrocities are committed by human beings. They are human beings born by born by yes. They have parents, they have siblings, and they continue to commit these heinous crimes. So where are we going? Are you going? It is no longer safe now. Nowhere is safe. And we begin to wonder if you have a government in this country. A government that is supposed, that the first priority of being a government is to protection of life and property. But we are not having that. So it's worrisome. It's worrisome. And I don't know how to suggest the way out. All we need to do is continue to pray. We have to pray. But you should pray and also walk. Yes.
All right. Now, let's look at this issue one by one. Let's start with violence. Now, you see, we have there are factors that that induces violence. One of them is election, and we have it at hand now. We've not heard the election. We've been hearing of violence at political campaigns as a result of which people sustain injuries, some even lead to death. Now, how do we solve this the problem of violence relating to campaigns?
Well, you see, like we said earlier, somebody has gone to dispose of either his own property or his father's property, all because he wants to go into election. Now, so he has already made up his mind. He's not going there for service. He's going there to recoup the money he has lost as a result of selling his property. So he'll do anything and everything to ensure that he wins. So by so doing, he harms some people. See, this is where the role of the parents to come in. Now, these people that are going to harm some of these talks, their own children are far away from the shores of our land. So, but if you allow yourself, they will buy a Google, they will buy hard drugs for you, go and kill some people, his political opponent, and you go because of the token money we give to you. So, there should be an orientation for everyone, both the leaders, those who want to contest election, as well as the electorate, as we the people. In fact, it is even more on us than on those who are contesting. Now, but you see, individuals too have abandoned our parental roles. How many of us do proper parenting? It is not my child is of school age, I send him to the best school, then go and sit down chasing money. No. You have to. In fact, if your child is in a university or in a tertiary institution, not even type of secondary school, you visit him unannounced. Because the lives he lives at, he or she lives at home, may be different from the ones he lives or on the campus. Visit him unannounced, then get him. There's a way you, as a parent, you can check. So it starts from the home. But you see, if you get into the society, who are our role models? I'm sorry to say, people like MC Oluoma and others are role models in Nigeria. I see people who envy them. All his children are schooling in abroad. MC Oluoma stands shoulder to to visits of his children's universities abroad. So everyone say, This man can, what is the qualification? Qualification is that any reality member. And so if you can go that length, why not? You can also do the same thing. So the whole and the society. Unfortunately, we don't have enough policemen to police the society. So, but if you do the more, it's not like taking a child to the school and expecting the school to do everything for you. How many hours does a child spend at school? Most of the times are spent with the parents at home. So if you do it at home, it becomes lesser and lesser. Then our religious bodies too, I'm sorry to say, it's not helping matters. Whether it's the church or in the mosque. Who are the people we give chieftaincy titles to in the society? Our traditional institutions, even the monarchy, they are also not helping. So it's a complex web, starting from the home to the society and then to the politics. Now some people believe this is their time. They want to amass as much money as if the money they get now will last them till the end of life, which is not. You see, the fear, one fundamental thing about money is that the way it comes, that's the way it goes. We are talking about these political office holders. Let them leave office for 1 year. 1 year, no. 6 months. And you see the difference. So, we have to do in such a way that we ourselves, we owe it to God that gave us the children to take proper care of them. Then we also ensure that they live a decent life in the society.
Thank you. Sake, you once talked about prayer, that we should continue to pray and work. Now, the issue of, there are other factors that induces violence, like courtesan, thuggery, and what have you. So do we continue to pray in order to solve this problem, or what can we really do?
Well, I talk of prayer, yes, but also you must imbibe the spirit that human lives are precious. Unfortunately, we believe in the age where human lives have become have lost value. People don't value human lives any longer. Because otherwise, how would an individual just decide to behead a fellow human being? How would an individual just treat a human being like an animal which should be slaughtered? It means human lives have lost value in this country. And so, well, the churches, they are doing their best. The best they can do is to preach moral. Yes. And if they preach moral, citing various instances in the Bible and the Quran, that is the best they can do. Parents have greater role to play than the pastor and the imam. Yes. But if God has endowed human parent with that most precious gift, a child, it is the responsibility of that parent to take care of that child. Otherwise, he will have cause to answer questions at the end of the day. And so we need to do a lot as parents. And also, you see, the society has become so the impression is how to make money. What does the Bible say? It says the love of money is the root of all evil. It's not money, it's the love of it. It's good to have money. Bible even say money answers so many things, but the love of it is the root of all evil. And that love is growing day by day. When you have a 14-year or 15-year-old child going into the money ritual, that is what the world has turned into now. So this craze for money, to be rich at all costs. If you don't go into politics, then you have to find other means. And the next thing is to go ritual, looking for human parts to make money. So this has some of the problems, and we need. I still believe that we need God's intervention.
All right, thank you very much. Now, losing 500 citizens, not to violence alone, But accident is another factor that took a higher percentage of this number. Alhaji Muritala Agbola, how do we reduce accidents on our roads?
Again, it's the role of everybody. You see, one problem we have in Nigeria is you see one agency working, then when EFCC started doing fine, all jobs that were not supposed to be there, they shifted it to them. Road safety, individuals, those of us who have cars, maintain our cars, ensure that it's in good condition before we set out. Check our water, check the oil level, before you, everything that's supposed to be with the car, let it be. Then when you are on the road, you don't overspeed. See, because if you overspeed, sometimes when something crosses, you will not be able to control yourself. So then generally safety consciousness on the part of everybody. Then if you have to drink, don't drive. If you drink, don't drive. If you drive, don't drink. You see, some of these drivers, commercial bus drivers, you see them taking ogogoro. Even these Okada people, they tell you that it will shock their body and things like that. So when you take that and you are under the influence of alcohol, some also take drugs. These NDA, they are doing a fantastic job, but the more they try to seize this, the more people. So you have to be safety conscious.
All right.
Thank
you very much. Sake, now, beyond being safety conscious, what about the nature of our road? Quickly before we round up.
Yeah, that's another problem. The roads are bad. People refer to our roads as death traps. Yes, they are bad, but when you know that the road is bad, all you need to do is to drive carefully. Okay. But the problem you seem not to appreciate is that it is now very expensive to maintain a vehicle, to maintain a car. If you don't have the money to maintain it, the parts you get, they are second-hand or adulterated parts.
Okay.
So you see, when you go to town today, you see so many cars parked. The moment you see a bottle placed on top of the roof of a building, it's for sale. A lot of them, because most people don't have the capacity to maintain the cars now. That is the problem. It's not as if they don't want to be car owners, but they can't maintain. So it is becoming more and more. And those who risk by still maintaining their car, take the risk. They take the risk. So many factors. Bad roads, they are one of them. They are a part of it, and also expensive maintenance of this vehicle.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming on the program today. Alhaji Muritala Agbola, I sincerely appreciate your comment.
Thank you for having me.
Kayo Diadore, our Sake. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening, viewers.
Thank you. Viewers, at home, this is how we are going to call it quits. Tomorrow is another day where you meet another of my colleagues in the newsroom. Until then, I am Kayo Diadore. Bye bye.